All right, Squirrel Tribe. So we're going to talk about something today that some of you may already be aware of. This might not be, breaking news or anything new to you, but we're going to break it down just a little bit and explain what it really means. So there has been talk in the last few days of the fact that President Joe Biden's current sitting president, Joe Biden, but maybe not in the end of November, you know what I'm saying? That he has secretly, I think is the word is being thrown around, secretly flown in almost 375,000 illegal immigrants into the U.S., okay? And as much as I would love to say that's not true, unfortunately, or fortunately, or however you want to look at it, that's not true. It is. Okay, so let me explain exactly what it is, though, because I don't know how much fact has been put out with the fact that these illegal immigrants are being flown in. But there's a little bit more to it than what I think a lot of people are hearing. And in my opinion, there's more to it in a negative way than what people are hearing. And people are hearing negative things to begin with. But according to this, there is a program that was just upheld by a Democratic court, if you will. And the Republicans brought it to court and said, hey, this is not something we should allow to be happening. And a Democratic court or judge or whatever you want to call it said, you didn't bring me enough information for me to overturn this. So we're going to continue to allow this. So it's a program that allows 30,000 migrants from 4 countries into the U.S. each month, upheld by judge. So that's where the number of 372 or 375,000 illegal immigrants being flown into the U.S. last year came from. It's roughly 30,000 a month. And they're coming from 4 different countries. Willingly, the Biden administration is willingly flying in 30,000 illegal immigrants per month from 4 different countries on a humanitarian basis. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory, if you will. I don't think that's really the right words, but whatever. So the Biden administration can keep operating a program that allows a limited number of migrants, although in my opinion, 30,000 is a really high freaking limited number, from 4 different countries to enter the U.S. on humanitarian grounds after a federal judge on Friday dismissed a challenge from Republican-led states. Now, 21 states brought this to the attention of this federal judge and was like, hey, listen, this is hurting us. It's hurting our economy, whatever else. But according to U.S. District Judge Drew B. Tipton, said Texas and 20 other states had not shown they had suffered financial harm because of the humanitarian parole program that allows up to 30,000 asylum seekers into the U.S. each month from, and here are the 4 countries, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Cuba. That was something the states needed to prove to have legal standing to bring the lawsuit. According to Tipton, he said, in reaching this conclusion, the court does not address the lawfulness of the program. Eliminating the program would undercut a broader policy that seeks to encourage migrants to use the Biden administration's preferred pathways into the U.S. or face stiff consequences. Now, this article is on Yahoo. There are plenty of articles out there about it. This one just had a little bit more information than some other articles did. Texas obviously led this because Texas is the one who's getting hammered the most with the illegal immigrants that are crossing the southern border, plus ones that are being flown in. But the states led by Texas argue the program is forcing them to spend millions on healthcare, education, and public safety for the migrants. An attorney working with the Texas Attorney General's office in the legal challenge to the program created a shadow immigration system. So here's the thing. We already know that there are hundreds of thousands, probably in the million, of illegal immigrants crossing just the southern border alone, not even taking into consideration the 300 or 30,000 a month that the Biden administration is legally or illegally, I don't know how you want to phrase that, flying into the country from all these other countries, from Nicaragua, Venezuela, Haiti, and Cuba, not to mention everybody's coming through the southern border, right? That is a ton of people coming in that we as a country are having to foot the bill for. I mean, when they come here, a lot of them are being given, we already know this, they're being given phones, they're being given plane rides and train rides and things to get to the sanctuary cities, whether it's New York, whether it's Chicago, whether it's some other place, right? Then you have to take into consideration the ones that are being brought in on humanitarian efforts from the Biden administration. That is an even larger amount of money that's being spent because you're having to fly these people in from all these different countries, right? As opposed to them just crossing the Rio Grande or walking across the border in Texas or into California, Arizona, wherever. You have all this money that's being spent to bring them here, okay? it is a huge impact. And for any judge, who is this guy's name again? For this judge, Drew B. Tipton, U.S. District Judge Drew B. Tipton, to say that these states haven't proven that there's been a financial hardship. I mean, all you have to do is look at our economy right now. All you have to do is look at the amount of not even Americans that are living on the streets, but the illegal immigrants who are literally cluttering up roadways in numerous sanctuary cities, from the sanctuary cities that are overflowing, the hotels that they're putting them up in, the schools in New York that they are closing down so that immigrants can stay there and kids instead have to, do that, what do they call it? Distance learning? What do we call it when the schools close down during C-19? Digital learning. Well, it's called digital learning, but I feel like there's another name that I can't think of right now. There's a whole lot of hecticness going on in my parking lot right now. There's some dogs barking and people trying to drag them. It's extremely windy. There's supposed to be massive flooding all up the East Coast and Northeast in the next few days, today, tomorrow, and then next weekend it's going to be just as bad. It was 72 degrees and fine this morning when I left the apartment, and my husband and I went to the gym. On our way back, we went by the beach to see what was going on because it is spring break and we're curious, how many people are here this week, because it's a lot of money to go on spring break, right? College spring break at that. And there were a lot of people at the beach, even though now it's like 70 degrees and ridiculously windy. It's a double red flag on the beach, meaning if you set foot into that water, you're paying a $500 fine because it is too treacherous and dangerous. The waves that we don't normally see here were sky high, like you could go surf these things. And Okaloosa County, Florida is not really a surfing location. The waves just don't get like that, but today they are. It's just been wonky here. But anyway, back to this. So according to this, where are we? Eliminating the program would undercut a broader policy that seeks to encourage migrants to use the Biden administration's preferred pathways into the U.S. or face stiff consequences. Let's see. We talked about the health care already. Advocates for the federal government countered that migrants admitted through the policy helped with a U.S. farm labor shortage. You hear what I'm saying there, right? So let's read between the lines there. They are willingly bringing in 30,000 immigrants a month to give them manual labor, working farm labor. Is that what we're doing? I don't understand. We have plenty of Americans here who would love a job. I don't know if, the Biden administration is aware of this, but we do not have the best unemployment right now. There are plenty of people who are unemployed, plenty of people who would like a job, and to literally take them away from U.S. citizens to give them to illegal immigrants doesn't make sense, especially when we know good and damn well that our Social Security funds are woefully low because there's such a huge payout right now because the age group of people that are retiring, it's a massive group of people that are retiring. And so Social Security is having to be paid out, right? So you would think they would want American citizens paying W-2s, paying into Social Security to get the jobs, not take them away from you and I and give them to illegal immigrants. Like, I'm very confused on why our government does half the dumb shit that it does. And whether you like the Biden administration, whether you like Trump administration, whether you dislike either one of them, I don't know very many people who can sit back right now and say that our country is in a great shape economically. There, of course, there's going to be winners no matter what, but normally it's corporations and people who were already billionaires before this presidential cabinet took over. They were already doing well. Maybe they're doing a little bit better because of the things this cabinet has done and the changes they have made that help the corporations, that help the people with the money and hurt the people with less, right? Anyway, back to this. Sorry, I have a tendency to, According to the White House, they welcomed the ruling by this judge that said, no, we're going to keep this thing going. The district court's decision is based on the success of this program, which has expanded lawful pathways for nationals from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela who have a sponsor in this country and pass our rigorous vetting process while dramatically decreasing the number of nationals from those countries crossing our southwest border. How are you dramatically decreasing the number crossing the southwest border? Just because you flew them in instead of they crossed? It's still the same amount of people, still the same amount of illegal immigrants coming into our country. They can word it however they want. They can try to sugarcoat it. They can try to, slap some pig on it, slap some lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. That's pretty much what this is. They're trying to say, well, there's less of them coming through the southern border. Well, yeah, because y'all dumbasses flew them in to the country instead. You spent more money instead of letting them just walk across. I don't understand. Their math isn't mathing, my dudes. That's basically how this comes down to. So according to this, That was the White House spokesperson, Angelo Fernandez Hernandez. Angelo Fernandez Hernandez. I don't know why it's fun to say. But anyway, the Texas Attorney General's office did not immediately reply to message seeking comment. An appeal by Texas and other states seems likely. I would think so. Since the program was launched in the fall of 2022, this is why people are coming up with this number, more than 357,000 people from Cuba, y'all, my brain and my mouth are not in sync today. Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela have been granted parole and allowed to enter the country through January. Excuse me. Wait a second. I'm sure they're using this term in a completely different way, but granted parole sounds real shiesty to me. It sounds like you are willingly bringing in 30,000 people a month from 4 countries where they were previously imprisoned. Is that what we're doing? Are we bringing in prisoners from these countries to put them into manual labor here into the U.S.? Are we not arresting enough of our own citizens to put into manual labor? Like, what is really going on with this thing? Like, we need to sit back and really, really think about this, because what I hear is they are spending our money to bring in paroled illegal immigrants to put them to work in our farms. And y'all, this is not me reaching, this is me just the way I connect things and the way my brain works. How many issues have we had with our food supply when it comes to our fruits, our vegetables, our meats, our eggs? Because I don't really know what that falls into. It's not really a fruit, a vegetable, or a meat. So I'm going to throw it into its own little baby category there. How many issues have we had in the last year and a half, 2 years? Way more than we need to count. And is it because of the people we're bringing in to work in the farm labor sector? It's like, are we bringing in the people who are then turning around and destroying us from the inside? Yeah. I like to be I'm optimistically cynical, or I'm a cynical optimist. I still don't know which way to phrase it. Today, I'm just a pissed off U.S. citizen who is not understanding the things that our government does. You call it humanitarian, but why are we calling it humanitarian? Why can't we be humanitarian towards our own people before we're humanitarian towards other countries? Other countries are not doing the same things that we are doing for illegal immigrants. They're not bringing them in. They're not flying them in. They're not giving them phones and $13 a day to eat, New York, and, housing and all these other things, and green cards and visas and whatnots. They're not doing that. Why in the hell are we doing it? It's not building our army up. These people are not going to fight for us. It's in theory, a lot of people are saying it's going to help with Democratic votes, but you legally cannot vote if you are not a U.S. citizen. A green card does not give you the right to vote unless, of course, the Biden administration pulls some shit and changes it somehow. I don't know how that works, honestly. Put that out there. I don't know if that's something a sitting president can change, the rules of voting, or if that is constitutionally written and it is what it is. Don't even try to touch it. I do not know the answer to that. I probably should, but I don't know everything. We know that. I don't know everything. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. I am trying to learn, and as I go about it, I try to bring y'all along and we can learn together. So I'm not quite sure exactly how this works. What I do know is that everything that has happened in the past couple years, whether it has been trickle over from the Trump administration, whether that was trickle over from the, Obama administration, whatever it is, we happen to be sitting in a time frame where nothing makes sense to me. And I can step back and look at a lot of things. I can step back and look at the economy. I can step back and look at the housing market. I can step back and look at what's going on with our food and things like that, and look at it from a rational, non-emotional perspective, which I know it's really hard to believe because I'm a very emotional person. Y'all have noticed. If you've been here before, you've noticed. If you're new, I get pretty emotional. But I can step back and look at all these things and look at it from a black and white perspective. And in doing so, stepping back and looking at what is going on in our country right now from a black and white perspective, it's not good. Yes, there are still great things in this country. There are still great days, great moments, great people, great whatever else. But if we continue on the path that we are on, with letting as many people across the border as we are, with bringing in 357, I was dyslexic earlier with 375, 357,000 people a year from these other countries, we are going to be at a point where we are literally overrun. And it feels really stupid to say that too, because we have so much land, but we don't. The government does. We are slowly filling up the cities that we have, right? And then it starts to trickle out into the suburbs, and it trickles out into the whatever's outside the suburbs, the country, if you will. And then there's like a stop line, because there's only so far you can legally go, and only so far you would want to go, because it'd be hard to live in certain areas, right? Whatever. But it feels like Thanksgiving. Let me explain this. Thanksgiving lunch, and you're wearing a pair of pants with a button on it. You know better. It's Thanksgiving. You're going to stuff your face with turkey and everything else. And that button, it needs to be undone. By the time dessert rolls around, you need to unbutton that button on your pants, and you need to lean back a little so you can breathe. And it feels like we're at the point where we need to unbutton the pants, and the government just isn't doing it. And the next thing you know, a button's just going to shoot across the room, and it's going to hit somebody in the eye, and then all hell's going to break loose. That's what it feels like. And if you understand the way I think, then you can figure out my analogy, metaphor, whatever, one of those two things. Y'all know exactly what I mean. The amount of people we are bringing in is getting very concerning. Not to mention the amount of people we are letting in has been very concerning. So, according to this, since the program launched in the fall of 2022, again, more than 357,000 people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela have been granted parole, which I don't like that phrasing, and allowed to enter the country through January. Haitians have been far been the biggest group to use the program, with 138,000 people from that country arriving, followed by 86,000 Venezuelans, 74,000 Cubans, and 58,000 Nicaraguans. My mouth can't say that one. I don't know why. Migrants must apply online, arrive at an airport, and have a financial sponsor in the U.S. If approved, they can stay for 2 years and get a work permit. So what happens at the end of 2 years? You really think the Biden administration is going to go find them and send them back? We are letting everybody and their mama and their cousin and their auntie and their uncles and their children in through the southern border and not doing a damn thing about sending them back. Why would he turn around and send these people back? There's no way he's going to. And then to have a sponsor here in the U.S. Are you sponsoring people? Is this like the sponsor a hungry child in Africa? No, that's completely different. You're sponsoring somebody from one of these 4 countries to come in here to do what? Work manual labor for your company. So does that mean that the sponsors are all your big corporations, like, I don't know, Tyson Chicken, like maybe BlackRock? Is it somebody with I can't think of anything right now. My brain is not braining at all today. I don't know why. Forgive me for that. But is it like, who is it? Who is sponsoring all these people coming in? Is it governors and, a sitting president? Is he sponsoring everybody? Like, I don't understand who's doing this. President Joe Biden has made unprecedented use of parole authority, which has been in effect since 1952, and allows presidents to let people in for urgent humanitarian reasons or significant public benefit. What public benefit is there to bringing in 357,000 people a year that, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's a popular program. People want to welcome other people to this country. What people? I mean, I'm sure there's people who are like, oh yeah, come on over. Like foreign exchange students. Like when you're in school and there's like a foreign exchange student and they come over for a couple years and then they go home. I feel like that's cool. That's something. This, not so much. I don't think this is what any of us want. So, what is this? Valerie Lavius, one of the 7 represented by Justice Action Center, sponsored her brother and nephew, and they arrived in Florida from conflict-plagued Haiti last August. They are flourishing in their new lives, she said, and her nephew has a newfound normalcy and is able to do things like play basketball outdoors without having to worry about safety. Her brother is working in construction. This is that feel-good moment where you're supposed to be like, oh, I'm so glad they're bringing in all these people who can live a better life now. And again, I sound heartless when I say I'd much rather our people be able to live a better life first. But it's true. I don't understand How can you help everybody else if you're not helping yourself first? Again, the airplane rule. If the face masks fall down, you put yours on first before putting on the one next to you for your child or whatever else. Because if you were to get theirs on and then you don't get yours on in time, who's going to take care of them? You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of other things. You have to have your house in order before you can worry about what's going on around you. Our house, the United States, is in a array of shit right now, and yet it's like our government refuses to step back and go, you know what, we should probably fix this here, maybe put a little duct tape on that there, a little crack over there, we should probably fix that a little, maybe we should smush it all, melt it all, fix it all, and then we can bring in other people. No, they go, oh, look at that crack, let's widen it, let's bring people in to like make it worse. Ooh, look at that looks like there's a piece of tape hanging on, rip it off. Like, that's what our government is doing right now. It makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. There's more stuff in here, but I will put a link to this because I don't want to do any more of this one. I do want to read this. Friday's decision is a clear win and affirmation of humanitarian immigration parole being an indispensable, necessary, and model program of the type of smart solutions we should be focusing on to relieve pressure on the border and modernize our failed immigration system. Bro, that doesn't make sense because you're not doing shit at the border to stop anything. All you're doing is just adding more people on top of the people you're already letting in. You can't say this is a better option if you haven't stopped the original bad option. Like, oh my gosh, they make my face itch because it's just so stupid. It doesn't make sense, y'all. I would run for Congress. I would run for something. They would hate me, y'all. They would loathe me because I would have to sit and look at them and go, do you know you're stupid? Like, do you wake up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror and think to yourself, man, I'm one dumb representative, and then just go about your day? Like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. I know there are really smart people in this country, but it seems like none of them are helping run the country. The country is being run by a bunch of morons with their heads up their asses. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. No, I don't know. Anyway, I want your thoughts on this. I do want your thoughts on this. Am I wrong? Am I overreacting to what is going on? To the bringing in 330,000 people a month from these other countries? To them being sponsored by somebody here? To them working in the farm labor? What? Like, y'all, I'm not dumb. I'm not the smartest. I'm fully aware of that, but I'm also not stupid. And I know for a fact our government is trying to make us feel like they are doing what's best for us while knowingly doing what's worst for us. So there's that. Y'all, SquirrelTribe, SquirrelTribe, SquirrelTribe. That's all. That's all. I mean, there's plenty, but that's all for today. That's all I want to talk about right now. There's a lot. We'll do more later or maybe tomorrow. I'm going to go inside now before the rain starts. I love y'all. Thank you for letting me have these conversations. I say it every time, but I mean it every single time also. I appreciate you letting me just blah. You know what I'm saying? Whatever's up here comes out there. There is no thinking ahead. There's no whatever. So whatever I say is what I say. It is what it is. Yeah. I love y'all. I hope you have a fabulous day. Sorry if I put you in a little pissy mood. It was not my intention. It's just I don't understand. I just don't understand what our government's doing with the letting everybody into our country and doing nothing to help the actual citizens of the United States of America. So there's that. Okay, I love y'all. I'll see you later. Bye.